Welcome. Let's see. Is anyone? Oh, we've got a few people joining us. How wonderful. Well, hi, my name's Tori Vallon. I'm a women's integrative nutrition and lifestyle coach. I'm also a functional weight loss specialist. Women's health after 40. What doctors aren't telling you. This session is one I've been wanting to do for a long time because I think it's one of the most important conversations that women over 40 need to hear. It's honestly a conversation that should be happening in doctors' offices, but these conversations aren't happening in that way. I want to share with you what I keep hearing and seeing week in, week out. Women going to the doctor, getting blood work done, being told everything's normal, everything's fine, like the brain fog that makes them feel like they're going a little bit crazy and losing their mind, or the weight that just will not shift no matter what they do. Hi, Rachel. Oh, so, hi from Serenity and Rachel. Oh, so nice to hear from you, darling, from both of you. um, the weight that just won't shift, and women are doing all the right things. They've tried eating better and they tried moving more, and they're doing everything that they're told to do, but nobody's connecting the dots for them. Today, I want to show you some of the biggest blind spots in conventional medicine for women over 40. And not blind spots because I think doctors are incompetent or because they don't have your best interests at heart, but because we have a system that we operate within that's in desperate need of change. If we want women to be well, if we want women to get well and stay well. So by the end of this session, I hope you'll understand exactly why you've been feeling so stuck. And I hope that you will have some clarity on some areas where the system is failing women just like us. Because here's the truth. And this truth is going to run through everything I talk about today. There's actually not something wrong with your body. There's something wrong with the system where we commonly go for help. The system doesn't give us the full picture. The system doesn't give us the answers that we need. All right, let's dive right in. The first thing I want to share with you that I see time and time again is that our medications are sometimes stealing from our bodies what we need the most. And this is a genuine frustration that I have, and that I'm sure once I share this with women, they have the same frustration. Because it's a big blind spot. It's hiding in plain sight. Here's what's happening. We go to the doctor with a problem. Maybe it's a symptom. It might be something like high cholesterol. It might be reflux, or it might be ADHD type symptoms or hormonal issues. And we may receive a prescription, which seems totally reasonable within that framework. And it's a very standard response to receive a prescription for something that will suppress the symptoms. But here's what we're not being told is that many of the most commonly prescribed medications deplete our body of the very nutrients that are going to support the function. So when we get a prescription for statins for cholesterol, they actually deplete CoQ10, which our mitochondria need in order to produce energy, and it's critical to cardiovascular health. So now you're treating a problem, but you've created an entirely new problem related to the same system of the body. And nobody tells you why you're suddenly at higher risk of cardiovascular disease. ADHD medications, they commonly deplete B12 and they commonly deplete magnesium. And both of these things are critical for mood and nerve function and focus and stress management, nervous system function. Women will commonly get the contraceptive pill. And even if you took the contraceptive pill years ago and you don't take it now, during the time that we take it, it depletes B6, it depletes folate, it's depleting magnesium and zinc, and all of these nutrients are essential for good hormone production and good detoxification and sleep and nervous system state, right? And women may have taken the pill not to avoid pregnancy, but maybe because they were getting hormonal issues. PPIs, proton pump inhibitors that women are commonly prescribed for reflux. They strip the body of magnesium and B12 and other nutrients, minerals like calcium. And those are ironically some of the nutrients that are most needed to help with reflux symptoms. For example, magnesium is needed for the integrity of the esophageal sphincter muscle. We want that to have good integrity so it doesn't fly open and allow the contents of the stomach to float upwards, right? So this is such a kicker. Like, this really gets me, that when symptoms show up, when new symptoms pop up, and women start feeling even more fatigue or even more mood changes and even more muscle aches and even crappier sleep, and they go back to the doctor, nobody connects them back to the medication that they're taking, and instead they just get sent for more tests. So they get told it's just stress or it's just their age. Or worse, they get another prescription on top of the first one to address the symptoms that are now arising from the use of the first medication. Maybe now they get a sleeping pill or an antidepressant, or they get a medication for their anxiety. And then the cycle continues. Layer on layer on layer, and nobody's stepping back to look at the full picture of this. So this is not about blaming doctors. This is not about throwing away medications. It's about understanding that when medication is used, it's just a part of the picture, and there are always drawbacks, and we need to have education around what those drawbacks are. Because when you know what's depleted in your body, you can be proactive about protecting yourself and replenishing anything that's lost. So this is not a super magic thing. This just feels like common sense for me. So I would like to hear from you if this makes sense. Could you please give me a thumbs up or give me a little one of those if this is making sense to you? If you have experienced this yourself, then I would love to hear from you. I know many of my clients have come to me taking these medications with no idea that the medications were causing depletions. Let me know if this is you. So something else I want to share with you is about these weight loss medications, these GLP-1 antagonists, and all the hype around it. Okay, this is a little bit controversial. People aren't going to like this. So Sarah's saying, so true, medication. It never felt right to get fully on what I've been prescribed for not a very serious issue. Yeah, right. Okay, thanks, Julie. Julie's saying this makes sense. Thank you. Let's keep going. So these medications, I can't even remember all of the names, but I'm gonna list a couple that I remember. So we have a Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, right? You can probably think of some others that are like that. Thank you, Sarah. So those are all being hailed right now as the answer to weight loss. When women are struggling with weight, well, you can just take one of these GLP-1 antagonist medications, right? We see them everywhere, and we see the before and after photos. They look really impressive, right? Then we hear a lot of celebrity stories. And look, I'm not here to demonize medication, because this is a choice that we're all empowered to make. But I am here to make sure that you have the information you need to make a fully informed choice. I consider this part of my work in the world with women, because the full picture is not being advertised or given to us. So the research shows that up to 40% of the weight lost on those drugs can be muscle mass. Oh my God, I just need us to really consider that for a second. Not fat, muscle. So when you hear women say, oh, I started on Wegovy, my doctor started me on Wegovy and I lost 15 kilos in 3 months. Right, on the scales. You could have lost anything. You could have lost muscle mass. You could have lost some of your bone density. For women who are over 40, for whom losing muscle is already a concern for us, because it happens as we age, this is not a trade-off that you should be willing to do. Because muscle is your metabolic engine. It's protective of your bones. It's what keeps you strong. It's what keeps you independent as you age. And losing it is not something that you can afford to do right now at this age. So here's the thing. Muscle is incredibly hard to build back once you've lost it over 40. And on top of that, the incidence for rebounding with that weight is very high once women come off those medications, the Wegovys, the Manjaros. So the thing that really gets me is the medications don't address the full picture of the underlying insulin resistance that was often driving the weight gain in the first place. They suppress appetite. The number on the scale will go down, but they don't fix the root cause. This is not healthy weight loss. So when you stop those medications, the cause is still there and the weight just comes back. And often the weight comes back plus more. This is the way that the body works. If we lose weight in an unhealthy way, it comes back on plus more. The plus more is a protective mechanism because your body doesn't want you to enter starvation again. So that's the protection on top. I'll make sure you can't lose that much weight again. Your body doesn't need that type of shortcut. It's not healthy for your body. There's a price to be paid for that. Your body needs the right information. It needs the right support. When you can address the root causes of the reason why your body gained weight in the first place, then you'll lose the fat. You get to keep your muscle and you get results that actually last. This is what I do with my clients because you've addressed why the weight was there in the first place. And this is such a different conversation from what's being done out there in doctors' offices. Here you go, just take this injection and see what happens. So, if you've been curious about how GLP-1 medications work, but you've had that little suspicion that maybe we're not being told the full picture, then there you have it, right? If this is making sense to you, can you give me a little wavy hands up or a little hooray? Give me a little party face. Give me a little chef's kiss. Give me an emoji if this is making sense, or write me some comments. If this feels like the full picture to you, and we weren't getting the full picture before, then I want to hear from you in the comments. All right. Here's something else I feel, doctors aren't telling us. When this hits home for a lot of women in this group because there are so many of you out there who show me your blood tests and say, why am I still feeling crap? It's so frustrating when you feel like you're doing everything right. You feel shit. You know something's off. So you go and get the appointment with the doctor and you ask for some labs or some blood tests, right? In Australia, we usually say blood tests. Over in the USA and Canada, they say labs. And you advocate for yourself. You're there saying something's not right and I'd really like to understand a little bit more. Good for you. The results come back and the doctor says, well, everything looks fine. And you're left sitting there thinking, huh? That doesn't make any sense. Why does everything look fine? Is it all in my head? Well, no, it's not all in your head. It's in your body. You're not making it up. What's actually happening is that when we get blood tests taken, they're compared against a reference range. And that reference range, which is used in standard pathology, is only designed to catch disease. It's not designed to help inform you of why you're feeling so terrible. And it's based on population averages, right? So the average results from people who go to that particular laboratory to get that particular marker tested, they fall somewhere between here and here, right? So if we're talking about thyroid markers and the general population of people that go and get their thyroid checked are people who feel tired and they can't lose weight and their hair's falling out and their libido's rock bottom, and some of them are over here and some of them are over here. Do you want to fall within that range of people who feel like shit? That's, and then your doctor looks between that range and goes, yeah, you're in there somewhere. Everything's fine. Everything is not fine. You don't want to be fine if fine means sitting in that average of all the other people who are going off to get their thyroid checked. You don't want to feel fine. You want to feel amazing. You want to feel optimal. You want to feel radiantly healthy. So the reference range is not designed to help you understand why you're feeling crap. So there's a massive gap that we have here. No, Francine, we always start 11 a.m. Adelaide time on Tuesdays. That's okay. There's a replay, don't worry. Yeah, exactly. Julie's saying the reference ranges from all the other sick people. Do you want to feel like all the other sick people? No. You want to feel amazing. So we need to stop looking inside the reference range and telling women, oh, everything's fine here. You fall within the reference range because there's so much disease happening within that reference range. Falling within the reference range means you're just not sick enough for a diagnosis yet. But you are going to be far, far from well. A normal result is not the same as saying your results are optimal. So things could look fine on paper, but you could feel like you're falling apart. And then women stop advocating for themselves and they stop going and talking to their GP about their health because the system has basically told them, well, we don't really know what's wrong with you, or maybe this is all in your head. And that is not very empowering. So I'm not asking you to stop going and seeing your GP. You should keep going and seeing your GP. And this is not about doing away with conventional medicine altogether. It's about understanding that this system was set up to catch crisis, not to catch things early. And so blood work needs to be worked with differently. You need to work with someone who understands functional ranges and where markers should be to be optimal. So you can see that, so that you can see exactly where your dysfunction is, so that you can see exactly where the problem is. So I want to hear from you guys. If you've ever been told your blood work is normal and you know that it's not normal and you don't feel right, I want you to type normal in the results. Give me big capital letters, normal. If you ever heard from a doctor, everything's fine there, everything's normal, let me know. Especially if you feel frustrated, as frustrated about this as I do. Okay, so something else I want to share with you. When there are markers that nobody else is checking, this is just building on what we just talked about. It's the perfect example of something, of a blind spot that's hiding in plain sight. You may already be insulin resistant, right? But getting your blood glucose checked isn't really going to give you that picture. Yeah, Francine's saying she's seen a doctor twice now and she doesn't really have the answers. She only knows how to prescribe estrogen, right? Yeah, so frustrating, right? Yeah, Sarah's been told everything's normal and it's not normal. Okay, so markers that nobody's checking that need to be checked. When we go into perimenopause, it's very likely that we're starting to struggle with insulin resistance, even if we haven't struggled with it before. But chances are nobody's ever really checked you for it, because how the standard system works is they'll check your fasting glucose. And your fasting glucose may well come back in range and you get told you're fine. What nobody's telling you is that by the time your fasting glucose is not normal, you've been metabolically dysfunctional for years, maybe up to 5 years, maybe even for a decade. Because nobody checked the right marker. The right marker to check is fasting insulin. Fasting insulin is your early warning sign, because insulin starts struggling. Insulin will be high when fasting a long time before your glucose ever gets high. It's your body's canary in the coal mine, if you know that phrase. But it's almost never included on standard blood panels. And women need to specifically ask for it. And when women specifically ask for it, sometimes there's resistance, but we have to ask, okay? Because it's going to help us understand so much. What it is it's evidence that we need to change. I mean, we could just go ahead and change the things anyway, the inputs into high fasting insulin, into insulin resistance. But if you want the evidence, you're only going to get it if you ask for fasting insulin and not for fasting glucose. And insulin resistance is one of the biggest underlying factors in almost every symptom that women over 40 come to me for, right? This is kind of good news in a way because insulin resistance is reversible. When you catch it early, it's even easier to reverse. And if you want the evidence, you need to ask for the right test. If you want evidence that your metabolism is struggling, then let's not go by fasting glucose anymore, fasting blood sugars. Let's go by fasting insulin, okay? So insulin resistance can be turned around. We turn it around through great nutrition, through movement, through targeted lifestyle changes. And the women I work with start seeing the shifts. Their energy starts coming back online. The weight starts shifting. The hormonal symptoms start shifting without medications. Just the right information, right? And the right support. So I want to hear from you guys. If you've ever been told your blood sugars look fine, but things don't feel fine, you're still struggling to lose the weight. Oh, fasting glucose is all right. I want to hear from you. Type insulin. If you've never been told by a doctor, you need to check your fasting insulin, which you do. All right. Final little piece of information I want to share with you that I feel that doctors aren't telling us this. Not because they're bad people, not because they don't have your best interests at heart, but because they work within a system, a framework that is limited and is no longer serving us in this day and age. The final thing I want to share with you is really that all disease begins in the gut. And nobody's really looking there. So what most people think is that when we talk about gut health, we're just talking about our digestive system. So bloating and reflux and constipation, those are all kind of gut problems, right? Yeah, you have, Sarah, totally. Those are the gut problems, right? And everything else, it's like, oh no, that's a different department. Don't worry too much about that. But it's not even close to true because your gut is your second brain. It's your command center. And it's doing a whole lot more than just digesting your food. Let me walk you through it because it's really important that we understand this. Your gut is where hormone clearance is happening. Your gut is where your immune system is regulating itself. Somewhere between 70 to 80, a little more than 80% of your immune system is laying in the lymphatic tissue just on the other side of your small intestine. So if your gut is compromised, then your immune system is compromised. We're making our neurotransmitters in our gut. Most of our serotonin's made there. In the gut, not in the brain. So that means your mood and your sleep and your stress resilience are all going to be very dependent on your gut health. And a lot of our body's inflammation is a result of what's going on in the gut. And that might show up as joint pain in the body. It might show up as skin issues. It might show up as brain fog. It might show up as weight you can't shift. It can show up in any and all parts of the body. I mean, basically everywhere. What happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut. It's a little bit like Las Vegas. And putting little band-aids on it is not going to serve you. We have to understand that all disease in the body, all dysfunction in the body begins in the gut. And when you address your gut health properly, and I don't just mean I was a bit constipated, so I ate some psyllium husk, but actually finding out what's going on down there and addressing it and giving it the proper support, then you're finally addressing the system that really runs everything in your body, and that's the gut. If you have a feeling that things aren't right and it might be related to your gut and you're confused about what to do, then I want you to type gut, G-U-T, in the comments right now. Maybe you've got a gut feeling about this, that there's a little bit more than just my digestion seems like it's working okay. I don't get bloated, so there's nothing wrong with my gut. It's unlikely. All right. So I've shared with you a few of the most frustrating points or the points that come up again and again with the women that I work with. the blind spots, as I see it, with just outsourcing our health to the conventional medicine system. The medications that we get prescribed that actually deplete the nutrients that those systems of our body actually need, and we create more problems. The weight loss drugs that make it seem like weight loss could be really easy, but they have a huge price to pay. The blood tests that we get where we feel like we're going to get some answers, but then we don't get any answers and we completely miss the dysfunction that's driving our symptoms. The insulin resistance marker that could change everything for us if we were only testing for it, but nobody's ordering that test. And the health of our gut that underpins everything, our hormones, our immunity, our mood, and nobody's properly investigating it. So all of the things I've talked about come back to one truth, and that is your body's not broken, but the system that we've been relying on for help isn't giving us the full picture, and we require change. Once we get to see the full picture, and when someone helps you connect the dots to everything, everything changes. And this right here is exactly the gap that I fill. And this is what I was put on the earth to do, is to give women the full picture. And inside my signature program, the Radiant Health Reset, this is what we do every single day. We're looking at the whole picture. And I help women look at their blood work through the functional lens, looking at what's optimal. And we talk a lot about the health of our gut and how we can improve it. We talk about insulin resistance and how we can reverse it and how we can have how body can manage our blood sugars amazingly for the rest of our lives to resist disease. We talk about our hormones and how to balance them. We talk about clarity around nutrition and finding the right diet for our unique bodies. And we talk about the management of our stress and our lifestyle factors. We connect all of the dots that nobody else is connecting for you. We find the blind spots that are so important and we address all of the root causes. So I would like to invite you all to come with me on a little journey next week if you are available. I am running a challenge next week. I'm super excited. It's called the Free 5-Day Metabolic Jumpstart Challenge. We start on Monday. And if you would like to join me, it's the most fabulous challenge. I get really excited when I run my challenges. We are together for a whole week. We make some changes to our choices that will help kickstart some weight loss for you. And I provide incredible education. And honestly, this free 5-day challenge, if I was charging for it, I would charge hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for it, because the education I pass on is invaluable. And so many women who've come to this challenge have had enormous shifts. If you've been to one of my challenges before, if you've enjoyed them, if they've changed your life, please tell me in the comments. For those of you who haven't come, Francine's saying, I participated in the challenge and I love it. It kicked me off in the right direction. Yeah, it sure did, Francine. You got some huge shifts. So if you haven't participated in my challenge before, or even if you have, I would love to have you join me next week. Could you please comment challenge below in capital letters? And either I will get in touch with you with the details or one of my team will get in touch with you so you can register to join us. We start on Monday. It's going to be the best fun ever. You're going to learn a whole lot and you're going to get some big shifts in your body. So I very much hope that you will join us. Thank you so much for being here, beautiful women. I appreciate you spending this morning with me, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye now.